Welcome to Honeybee, real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. You think you know someone. You think you know everything about the person you marry, the one you vow to love for the rest of your life. But life has a way of proving you wrong, showing you that what you believed to be true was never the full story. It had only been a few months since we got married, and it felt like we were living in a dream, the kind of love you read about in novels. Everything felt flawless. Time seemed to pause whenever we were together. Every morning, I woke up with her beside me, her soft breathing against my chest, her face peaceful as she slept. Every night before leaving for my hospital shift, I kissed her goodnight, feeling like the luckiest man alive. The job was demanding. Endless hours, constant pressure. There were nights I barely had the strength to stay upright, stumbling through the hospital doors with just enough energy to function. But no matter how draining those shifts were, no matter how many lives I had to fight to save, there was always one thing that kept me going: the thought of coming home to her. I never imagined that the life I thought was perfect, the love I believed was unshakable, was about to fall apart in a way I could never have prepared for. That night started like any other. We spent the evening laughing about little things, enjoying the comfort of each other's presence. She was in her pajamas, looking cozy but tired, a soft smile on her face and warmth in her eyes that always made me feel safe. Her voice was gentle when she said, "Be safe, okay?" I kissed her forehead, whispered, "I will," and tried to hide just how exhausted I already felt. For a moment, life felt perfect. The drive to the hospital was quiet, the streets empty at that late hour. When I arrived, the usual sounds greeted me: machines beeping, nurses speaking in low voices, my footsteps echoing down the sterile halls. The hospital never slept. I was used to the pressure, used to the chaos, used to the feeling that time never slowed down. Halfway through my shift, my phone rang. It was my brother. His voice shook as he said, "Hey, it's Mom. She's gone. We lost her." The words hit me like a blow to the chest. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. My mother gone? It didn't feel real. I stood there, staring into nothing, trying to process what I just heard. But everything was blurry. The weight of the news crushed me, and for the first time in years, I didn't know what to do. I put the phone down slowly, numb, unable to focus on anything. The hospital staff noticed the state I was in and told me to go home, to take time off. I didn't argue. I grabbed my things and left. I couldn't bring myself to call Laura. I didn't want to wake her with this news. Didn't want to hear her heart break when I could barely keep my own together. So I drove home in silence, my mind heavy with grief. A light rain began to fall as I pulled into the driveway. The world felt eerily quiet, as though everything was muted. Inside, the house was still. I moved quietly down the hallway, assuming Laura was still asleep, like she usually was when I left for work. The dim glow from the kitchen, the low hum of the house, it all felt strangely peaceful. But then something felt wrong. As I walked toward our bedroom, still holding my bag, I heard it: soft laughter. At first, I thought my exhausted mind was playing tricks on me. But then I heard a voice, a man's voice. My heart stopped. I froze at the bedroom door, staring at the faint flicker of shadows on the wall. Slowly, I pushed the door open, and the world I knew collapsed. Laura, my wife, was in our bed, tangled in sheets with another man. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. The shock was so deep, it felt physical. She was laughing, a sound that used to comfort me. But now it pierced through me. She looked at him with a tenderness that should have been meant for me. A rush of confusion, rage, and heartbreak flooded to me all at once. I didn't even know what hurt more: losing my mother just hours ago, or watching the woman I loved betray me in my own bed. They hadn't noticed me yet. The man's back was turned to me, his body pressed close to hers, and she seemed completely lost in the moment. When Laura finally turned and saw me standing there, her face drained of color, her expression changed instantly from pleasure to terror. I wanted to speak, to scream, but no words came out. It felt like even my own body had betrayed me. I just stood there, frozen, staring at the ruins of my life. How could this be happening? How could the woman I thought I knew do this to me? on the same day my heart had already been shattered by losing my mom. Finally, I managed to speak, my voice raw and uneven. "What is this?" Laura scrambled to cover herself, pulling the blanket to her chest, her hands trembling. The look in her eyes, guilt and fear, said more than words ever could. The man jumped up, panicked, fumbling to grab his clothes. He mumbled a string of apologies I didn't want to hear, before bolting out the door into the night. Laura's tear-filled eyes met mine. "It's not what it looks like," she whispered, her voice shaking. I wanted to scream at her. How could she say that? Of course it was what it looked like. Instead, I just stood there, the weight of what I'd seen crushing me. Her words meant nothing. Nothing could undo what had just happened. A hollow laugh escaped me as I grabbed a duffel bag. "Not what it looks like?" I said, my voice breaking. "I come home grieving my mom, and this is what I walking on. You expect me to believe it's nothing." She broke down, crying, rushing to explain herself. "Please, it was a mistake. I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you." Her words spilled out desperate, but nothing she said could change what I had just seen. "A mistake?" I choked out. "Mistakes don't last long enough for me to walk in and see them. Mistakes don't happen over and over while I'm working night shifts trying to take care of us while you—" I couldn't finish. The anger, the pain, the betrayal, it was all too much. I couldn't even look at her. I turned away, throwing clothes into the bag without thinking. "Where are you going?" she cried, chasing after me. I didn't answer. I didn't turn back. "I can't stay here," I said flatly, and walked out the door. I didn't look back. There was nothing left for me there. That night, I drove to my brother's house, barely aware of the road ahead. I just needed to be anywhere but home. The images of what I'd seen replayed in my mind again and again, each one hitting me like another punch. I was drowning, in grief for my mother, in heartbreak for my wife's betrayal. It wasn't just what I saw, it was what it meant. Everything I thought was real had been a lie. I didn't need to question it. There was nothing to misunderstand. She had made her choice, and in doing so, she made mine for me. But right now, I couldn't face it all. First, I needed to grieve my mother. I needed to let that pain sink in before I could even begin to face the other, one heartbreak at a time. And when I was ready, I would rebuild from the ashes. But without her, I didn't know when, I didn't know how, but I knew I couldn't hold on to a marriage that no longer existed. For now, I just needed time. Time to mourn, time to breathe, and time to find my way forward.